Okay, so today we're going to talk about handling objections and why most people do it completely wrong and actually trigger more resistance when handling objections. So we're going to unpack my three-step DAC formula to overcoming any single sales objection that we receive. So we're going to be able to scrap any common rebuttals, any felt found that people used to use in the past, or any type of hard frames or looping necessarily. So we have to start to talk about objection handling. We have to talk about why do the old formulas fail us, and even some of the better ones, because most people handle objections. They get an objection during a call, they feel a knot in their throats, they feel a bowling ball drop in their stomach, and they're not sure necessarily where to take it. That's probably 70% of people, and they don't handle it properly. Like, they go back into resell mode, and they start throwing benefits and futures, and they try to convince prospects, which it rarely ever helps the situation. Now, let's look at a more, let's say, modern formula that was, maybe in the 80s, 90s, that said something like acknowledge the objection, connect, and then progress. So a usual way of handling the objection would be, and let's look at an example objection. We don't have the budget for this, right? Very common. We've all gotten it here and there. So we don't have the budget for this. The old way of handling an objection would be, I totally understand. Some of our current clients didn't have the budget either, but once they realized the extent of our capabilities and value, they were able to justify reallocating some budgetary dollars. Now, how much would you estimate that you spend performing this process now? Now, this is not something that I put together. This is exactly copy-paste the script that someone else was teaching, right? Acknowledge, connect, progress. And someone has to say this entire paragraph, and you're telling me that this works, right? Like, the prospect will sit back, mouth shut, and they will be like, yes, you convinced me, you're right, I'm in, let's do it. Who's going to tell me why this doesn't work? If someone wants to unmute or leave a comment, why doesn't acknowledge, connect, progress no longer works? When someone says, I totally understand, some of our current clients didn't have the budget either, but once they realized how great we were, they bought in. And then we ask them a question, how much would you estimate that you spent? Does anyone care to tell me why this doesn't work? Essentially, the idea is, and of course you can still unmute yourselves, but I want everyone to wait. Essentially, why this doesn't work? This doesn't work any longer because I totally understand. Everyone tells them that, right? Everyone totally understands them, but at the end of the day, no one feels understood. So by saying that, oh, I totally understand how you feel, I totally understand what you're saying. Do you really? Like, I just told you something, and the immediate second I said it, oh, you completely understand the situation. Like, they expect you to say that at this stage. Like, every single person that tries to sell them something, oh, this is too expensive, the first thing that they're taught to say is, I totally understand. So how do you think it positions you as? It positions you just like another salesperson, just like another person trying to sell them something. So let's remove that from our vocabulary, and let's start by understanding. Russia, thank you for participating. Repeat the problem to them to show them you understood 100%, and that's a big part of it, clarifying. And we're going to talk about it. So first of all, we have to realize objections are not necessarily a rejection of us. They're not rejecting us. It's just a concern our prospect has. most people feel rejected, so they react to the objection, like they get an objection and they attack the objection then and there. They sometimes get excited or they get defensive because that objection feels as if they're attacking our ego. But it's not the case, right? It's just a way, and in most cases, an objection is a triggered response, something that we triggered because we didn't ask the right question or we didn't handle the conversation up to that point properly. So we fly off the cuff instead of uncovering what the objection really means. 9 times out of 10, again, it's nothing more than a triggered response. In all cases, let's look at the different objections that we might get. Essentially, every single objection falls under the bucket of these 5. It's uncertainty, it's money or budget, it's the logistics in terms of if they have a time or not to do it, or other logistical parameters. It's a partner objection, or it's a think about it objection. Now, I'm actually tricking you here because I told you there are 5 objections, when in reality, the true objections are only 3. So right now, I just told you 5 objections: uncertainty, money, logistics, partner, think about it. But in reality, only 3 of them are true objections. Who's going to tell me what are the true objections here? What are the actual objections? Because not all of them, not all 5 of them are real. So uncertainty, is uncertainty a valid objection? It is, right? They have uncertainty towards something, towards us. They have fear around the money. They have fear of failure. So that's a valid one. What about the money? Is the money a valid objection? Yeah, like we hear it all the time. It's about the money. I don't have the money for this. I don't have the money for that. What about the logistics? When someone says, I don't have the time to do this, is it a valid objection? Is it or is it not? I don't have the time. I don't think I have I don't think this is enough hours for me to get a result. I think I need one-on-one coaching versus group coaching. All of these are logistical objections. Yeah, it is an actual objection, Ali, 100%. So a logistics objection, when it comes to either it's a time objection or there's something around the logistics of the program or the situation they don't like, it's a valid objection. So the partner objection and the think about it objection are actually not real objections. They're just smokescreen, both of them. Think about it 100% of the time. Partner, I would say 90% of the time, if not 99% of the time, it's a smokescreen objection as well, because it typically circles back to uncertainty and money. They're just looking to abdicate the responsibility of the decision. But let's dive into the exact steps to overcome every single objection. So what are these steps? First, don't acknowledge. Instead, diffuse the objection. We want to take off the pressure on both sides. So it's not just diffusing their objection for them, it's also diffusing, allowing ourselves to take a deep breath right after we get hit with the objection, taking a deep breath and understanding that it's not the end of the world. I'm removing the pressure off of my shoulders as well, because it's not my job to overcome the objection. We're gonna overcome their objection together. I'm gonna turn this combative phase of the call into a collaboration. This is, if you want to highlight something, highlight this. A lot of people butt heads, and that's where calls get combative, and that's where we lose all rapport and we lose sales, because we may have the right words to say, but if the environment, if the feeling of the call turns combative, that's where we lose them for good. So we never want to just acknowledge, I understand, because we still, we say we understand them, but we're going to repeat right back and we're gonna respond right back to them and try to attack their opinion just 2 seconds afterwards. So instead, I want you to say, yeah, that's fine, that's no problem. I want to say this with the right tonality as well to show them that I'm not shook or I don't have the money. That's fine, that's not a problem. I want to show them that this is something that's commonplace. That's not a big deal for me. I get it. Right after that statement, when I'm saying that's fine, that's not a problem, I want to clarify the objection always. There's always more to the story than what they're telling us with their first sentence. So what I'm going to say here is I'll say, when you say you don't have the money, how do you mean by that? Let's look at an example. So prospect says, oh, that's too expensive for me. A lot of people will think, oh crap, another one who doesn't have the money, waving goodbye. I want to keep my composure and I want to say, that's not a problem. Just so I understand, how do you mean it's too expensive? Well, we talked with another company and they're cheaper than you. Can you see what happened here? So it's not just about me assuming the objection. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, they don't have the money. No, it's much more than that, but I don't want to make assumptions. That's why I don't want to start handling the objection right away, because I might be answering the wrong objection. And when I'm answering the wrong objection, it's not that I'll get 2 or 3 or 5 shots at this, because I'm showing them by answering the wrong objection that I'm not listening to them. I'm just trying to get a sale. Is everyone with me on that? This is why it's very important to say, that's not a problem. When you say it's too expensive, when you say you want to talk to your partner, when you say you don't have the time, how do you mean by that exactly? That's why it's important to diffuse and right away clarify. Now, let's move into step 2, agree. And when I'm talking about agree, it's not agreeing with the prospect. What I want to agree with is in reality, find agreement with the prospect about this, about our situation, about that this is the solution that they're looking for, that's going to solve their problem. So in this stage, most people go back into selling mode with facts, figures, benefits, and the prospect just flips back into defense mode and throws another objection. Important point. Since they gave us an objection, they are in a no state. What do they say? I'm not moving forward. This is too expensive for me. They said us no. I'm not moving forward. In order for us to start handling the objection, I have to turn them from the no state to a yes state, right? Because that's what I want to hear at the end of the call. I want to go from a conditional no to a conditional yes. So I want to turn things into, I'm going to put them into a yes state. How I'm able to do that is I want to confirm and validate that this is exactly what they're looking for, besides the objection. So how do we do it? Prospect says, we like your product, but at this time, I just can't afford it. Here's what I'm going to say. That's fine. If you did have the money, do you feel like the solution would get you to where you want to go? Or do you feel like the solution would help you solve your problem? Now, if I ask the right questions in the conversation, they will always say yes. If I'm able to unpack the question a little bit more, what am I doing here is I'm isolating the objection, but I'm also checking to see if besides the objection they just gave me, my solution is going to get them from where they are, from hell to heaven. Because if I get agreement on that, I have them in a yes state. And once I have them in a yes state, the only thing I need to resolve is the actual objection that they gave me, which is the true objection. So if I ask the prospect the right questions in the conversation, they will always say yes here. If you did have the money, do you feel like the solution will get you to where you want to go? Yeah, for sure. I always want to ask why. Always. If I forget this, it's kind of like I never ask the question. The reason is, it's not just because I want them to sell themselves. That's one key. But the other key piece is everything that comes after the why, like their answer, their exact words, is my leverage for my objection handling. It's kind of like if I have a virtual scale and I just through the price at them, it's 5,000. On one side of the scale, I have the price. On the other side of the scale, if I don't get the answer to this why, it's as if it's empty at this stage, right? Because I don't have enough leverage to start objection handling. But if I ask them, do you feel like this would get you to where you want to go? I hear yes. Okay, why do you feel it would though, from your perspective? So once I hear yes, what's happening is in that imaginary scale, I'm starting to load the value section. So I'm starting, it's a balancing act. I'm getting them back into a yes state, and they're also defending that yes. Yes, I feel this would be the answer because if I'm selling coaching, I like the support, I like the one-on-one coaching, that I'm working with a coach on this, and I really feel that was missing. And I also can follow it up. If they're not specific enough, I can probe. And I can ask, okay, but how do you see the support specifically helping you though? Because a lot of people, when I ask them why, they're going to say, oh yeah, this part is interesting and this part is interesting. But that's not building me enough leverage. What's building me enough leverage is when I ask them, okay, how do you see this benefiting you though? What do you feel this from my solution, this thing that you just mentioned, what it's gonna do for you? So once I get agreements, they're in a yes state. The only thing holding them back is resolving the actual objection. That's step 3. And that's where I collaborate. The moment I get them to agree that this is the solution for them, it's turned into a collaboration. I'm side by side with them instead of on opposite ends, and we're working together. So no matter the objection, because I can give you scripts for everything, but in the heat of, let's say, the call, a lot of times words might not come to us. So the overarching formula that you can use is a simple question. It's a how question. Because think of what we just did. We removed the pressure of the call. That's not a problem. Fine by me that you don't have the money. Besides the money, do you feel like the solution will get you to where you want to go? Yes, they're agreeing with me. Why do you feel it would? Because it's going to do this for me. It's going to do this. It's going to do this for me. Okay, perfect. So it sounds like if we fix the money, you're ready to get started. Yes. So can you see how we shook virtual hands and now we're trying to solve the money issue? So all I have to ask now is a how framed question. How do you think you can resolve the money challenge so that you can get the outcome that you want? I'm not going to make suggestions. I'm not going to give freaking payment plans. At this stage, it's not relevant. Because I don't know if it's a fear objection. I don't know if it's a competitor objection. I don't know what the freak it is. Pardon the French. We get overexcited. Yeah, I'm going to repeat the question, Sophos. Thank you. I'm not going to give payment plans because they are not the answer. People get excited. They're like, oh, if we break it into payment plans, would that help you? And they get a no because it was a fear objection. And then we're back into zero. This is why every single step is important here. And it's a delicate balance because if I break rapport, I ruin everything. Like it's kind of like then I have a hammer and I'm trying to smash through that door, which it can help with some prospects. It can work, but it won't serve you for the long term because every call is going to turn into a battle. So I want you to ask, how do you think you can resolve the money so you can get the outcome that you want. Or if it's a financial objection and they really want it, they can say, oh, you know, I might borrow the money, or I don't think I can afford this right now, or I can't think of ways. And then you help them brainstorm, because it's clear that it's a logistical objection and it's not a fear objection. If it's a fear objection, what you're going to hear in this stage, you're going to hear, how do you think you can resolve that? So you can find the money, so you can find the investment, so you can actually do this. If it's a fear objection, you're going to hear, well, we have the money. It's just that I haven't invested in myself, or I have invested in the past, but so I feel kind of burned. Everyone with me? We're going to go deeper, but everyone with me so far? Like, how frame question, these 3 steps are key. I don't care if someone gives me the simplest, like, I don't have the money, my pockets are empty. I'm going to take them through that process. I never know what's below the surface. I'm never going to know. I'm not in their brain. So let's move forward. Let's look at different examples, because I want to show you that it's the exact same template. I can do the exact same thing with every single objection. So budget. How do you think you can resolve that so you can find the budget, so you can get to the outcome that you want? I always want to tie it back to what the frick they want. How do you think you can resolve that so you can find the money that you want, so we can get to work getting you more leads? Because remember, you're doing this, we're trying to troubleshoot together, salesperson, entrepreneur, whatever you are, and client, to get you to the outcome. We're on the same team here. And in this scenario, if I'm having trouble, oh, I don't think I can find the money, I'm going to wait to get my next clients to find the money, I can simply reply back with a nightmare question. I can tell them, what happens if you don't, though? Because from our conversation, we discussed that lead generation is also a challenge, is right now a challenge for you. So how are you going to get clients if you don't know how to generate your own leads? Can you see how it's just another how-to question? This is how I'm helping them visualize their own problems. Richard.
Yeah, so you say never use a payment plan?
I'm going to use the payment plan, but it's a tool for a specific issue. Unless I know what the issue is, I'm not going to prescribe solution. Like, I'm not going to go to the mechanic and
right. Don't offer it right away.
Yeah, like if you told me, if the mechanic told me without popping the hood, he told me, oh yeah, we're gonna change the battery, you're gonna be fine. Whoa, dude, you didn't even pop the trunk.
Right, and that's not your first option. That's not your first go-to. You're saying dig a little bit more.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
The payment plan comes after the collaboration, after I clearly see that it's a logistics objection. That's the only thing that payment plan solves.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
It's no different. It's no different than someone telling me, oh, I don't have the time for this. Things like that take 10 hours a week, and I'm not going to be able to do this. Okay, if I give you a nice discount, are you going to do it? It's irrelevant. It's kind of like I'm speaking a different language to them, right? I'm not listening to them.
Yeah.
Cool. Kennedy, if you want more clarity on that, shoot. Let's look at the time. I'm going to take them through the exact same process. Not a problem. Can you unpack that a little bit more when you say you don't have the time? They're going to give me more context. I'm going to isolate. I'm going to get agreements. I get agreement with them that this is the solution. Okay, so besides finding the time, do you feel like this will get you to where you want to go? Yes, perfect. Why? Because of X and Y and Z. Amazing. So how do you think you can find the time? I can ask them first. How do you think you can find the time so you can do this? I don't know if I can. Perfect. How much time do you think using the solution, or how much time do you think this would take so you can get to the outcome? Oh, I'm sure it would take 5 hours. Now, how can I reply? I can ask them, okay, well, if I told you that most of our clients put in 2 to 3 hours a week, they get to work and they're getting results, would you be able to swing 2 to 3 hours? Because it's not 10 as you expected, or it's not 5 as you expected. Yes, I could fit it in my calendar. Okay, are you sure you can swing that? Because if you're not able to put in 2 to 3 hours, there's not much we can do for you. Like, we want people committed. I'm giving you something extra. I'm gonna push them back a little bit more because this is gonna help them get more committed to my process. And if I can get them to commit and take that step further, just a little bit more, they're in. I'm gonna move into the partner. Feel free to drop another question if you have one. Let's talk about the partner. Same thing. I'm not gonna repeat myself. We diffuse, we agree, and then we ask. So, it's important when we agree, the agreement question is, okay, so if your partner was here with us, giving you the green light, a lot of people forget about this. A lot of people jump to, how does your partner feel? Oh, I want to talk to my wife. Oh, how does your wife feel about you wanting to fix the problem? I'm not sure if it's a wife objection yet. Like, people lie all the time. Like, the easiest thing for me to say, like, what is easier for me to say? If I have $1,000 in my bank account, right? The solution is 5,000. What is safer for me, for my ego to say? Is it safer for my ego to say, I'm gonna talk to my wife? Or is it easier for me to say, oh, I'm broke, I don't have the money for this? What is safer for my ego? It's the wife, right? Because I want to get rid of you. In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh shit, oh, pardon the French, this is too much money for me. Let me talk to my wife and we'll get back to you. And that's where they ghost. So, okay, that's not a problem. If your wife was here with us, giving you the green light, would you move forward with a solution? Well, yeah, but we have to figure out the money. What's the objection? Like, the wife was never part of the equation. So once we reach this point, I'm going to ask them, how does your partner feel about you wanting to fix problem? I want you to insert the right things here. It's not about buying solutions. It's about, how does your partner feel about you wanting to fix X and Y and Z problem? Are they aware that you have X and Y and Z problem? And then you can follow it up with a nightmare question if you cannot find a solution. Like, the next step from here is, okay, so what happens if you go to them and they don't want you to take action on something like this so you can fix X and Y and Z problems? And here you have a completely different objection handling tree. You can find on my YouTube. I'm gonna move forward. Of course, if you want to unpack it, I can unpack it here as well. But just for the sake of time, I'm gonna do the think about it. So think about it. This is a how-to question. It's just we're changing the language to make it more palatable for them. So I'm gonna take them again, diffuse, agree. Then I'm gonna ask them, what's coming up for you that you wanted to go over in your mind, just in case I can help, since I'm here. Every single word here matters. I'm not gonna ask them, okay, what do you want to think about? I wanna say, how do you mean you want to think about it? Because in a lot of cases, as we discussed, since this is a smokescreen objection, a lot of times just asking them, how do you mean you want to think about it? A money objection can come up right there, and you don't have to do the rest. So, how do you mean, besides you wanting to think about it, do you feel this will get you to where you want to go. Yes, no, perfect. Then I'm going to ask them, what's coming up for you? You want to go over in your mind, just in case I can help, since I'm here. I want to frame it in a way that if they reveal their thoughts to me, I want to help them. The language is important. If I don't get clarity here, because a lot of people like to stonewall us, and I'm gonna say, oh, just think about it. Yeah, I just want to go over in your mind. No, I liked it. You did a good job. Yeah, don't worry about it. I just want to think about it. I'm gonna say again, that's not a problem. I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds so I don't seem like I'm a complete robot objection handling machine, right? Because I'm gonna trigger more resistance. Take a couple of seconds, let them breathe. I'm gonna lean in and say, is it a money thing? Just in case I can help. Or I can simply say, I get it. Is it a money thing? Yes, it's a money thing. Like, this is an easy way to pierce through the smoke screen by being very delicate about it. Because what a lot of people do, okay, but besides the money, would you do it? And that's fine. But I want to go advanced. I don't want my staff to work for 6 out of 10 people. I want it to work for every freaking one. So my default way of doing it is it a money thing? Just in case I can help. So typically this reveals right away that this is a money, this is a fear, this is anything. Kennedy.
Hey, Chris. So on this one, would you once they do agree and you get the clarification, like you diffuse, you agree, and then you're kind of collaborating, would your then collaboration be to bring up the payment plan, which is like what Rich said earlier? Like, is that when you would kind of go down that route at that point, once you agree to it is money and you could help possibly?
Yeah. So here's how I do it. I'm going to say, how do you think you can resolve the money so you can get to the outcome? Now, my first go-to isn't the payment plan, because I can still get a full pay through a credit card.
Right, exactly.
Right? Or they can borrow from their husband, or they can borrow from someone, or again, I just want to make sure that I'm not dealing with a fear one still.
I see.
Like,
so you have to clear fear before you offer the payment, because if they're scared, they still wouldn't do it, even if it was a payment plan. And that's how you get the real objection.
100%. Because if I offer payment plans, they're still going to be fearful because they're fearful about commitment.
Right. It's the commitment. Yeah. So we think it's the money, but then once we ask that question, is like about the uncertainty, we kind of give them that option of like, is it really the money? Is it really the fear?
Yeah. The thing is, you give them the payment plan. Like, what happens is you give them the payment plan and you hear, oh yeah, that works for me, but I still want to think about
it. Yeah.
Right. And that's another way to do it. It's just, this is a much simpler way because you're getting straight to the point.
Right.
How do you think you can resolve that? Where you can find the money. I'm purposefully saying where you can find the money so you can do this. So it's like I'm assuming a logistical objection. And here, they're either going to start brainstorming with me, or they're going to combat well, I have the money, but I just want to make sure this is the right thing for me. And that's fear.
Yeah. So then how would you clarify fear though? Like what would you say then? Because if you find out that it's fear, then what?
Yeah, so that's when I handle it as a fear objection. So the way that I handle a fear, there are many different ways. The simplest way of doing it is, okay, it sounds like, it's more about you making the commitment to the solution so you can get to the outcome rather than finding the money. Is that the case? Or it sounds like you're a bit uncertain around making the commitment. Is that the case? Yes, it is. Okay, that's not a problem. And you know, it's normal to feel that way. Like if you didn't have a little bit of uncertainty and maybe fear for some people, like you could be a psychopath, just being real with you.
Yeah.
See what I did there? What did I do?
Yeah.
I want to create the opposite emotion,
Yeah.
right? Because fear, like if we go into, you know, the prehistoric, whatever ages, like fear comes from a threat.
Hmm.
I want to show them by introducing humor that I'm not a threat to them.
Yeah. Kind of get some kind of light in the mood.
Yeah, I'm lighting the mood. So I'm essentially I'm trying to break this them, because they will never be, they were never going to be able, you won't hammer a decision out of them when they're fearful, because they
Right.
shut down.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to introduce some humor. Yeah, I mean, you could be a psychopath. Even if they don't laugh and ha ha ha, it's still inside their brain, it calms them down, it calms them down. Because I'm showing them that it's natural. This is part of the process to feel that way.
I'm actually curious, do you actually do your hands like that too? Like kind of like hands up, like
Yeah,
just from
absolutely. Yeah,
a conceptual standpoint, like when you're actually doing it.
because this is another
Like
thing.
showing your hands, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm showing them that, again, going back to prehistoric cases, I'm not carrying a weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because if I keep talking to you like this, and I'm just like, what am I doing with my hands?
Yeah.
They're thinking, like, why isn't this guy like he's moving? Like, does he have a script he's reading off of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But this is what's going on in their subconscious. Like they're saying, let's say 2 words to me, and they're thinking 100 different scenarios in their mind.
Right. It's just, it's thinking about it, which more think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I always want to make sure I'm clearing the air. And that's why I'm introducing phrases like, you know, we're on the same team here. Like, I want you to win. Because I want to clear consistently the air. I'm showing them that I'm not a threat and I'm on their side, like I'm on their team.
Makes sense. Thanks, Chris.
Cool, absolutely. Richard.
Yeah, but you're just breaking up a little bit. That was really good what Kendra did. Go over that fear again, just like the objection, the humor.
Yeah. First, everything matters, like my tonality. Essentially, I want to, like it's calm confidence, essentially. Essentially, how the fear will come up is, how do you think you can resolve that, where you can find the money so you can get to the outcome that you want? Well, I have the money, it's just that I want to think about the, yeah, that's not a problem. You know, if I understand, you know, sometimes we may have, look at what I'm doing with my hands. We may have, where do they feel the fear? Here, right? In their stomach. So we may have, as humans, I'm human, I'm the same way. That's why empathy. We are feeling, you know, we may feel some uncertainty. For some people, it might be fear. So, you know, if you weren't feeling that way, I would call you a psychopath. You know what I mean? Now, you know, and I move forward. So my next question would be, now, it's perfectly normal to feel that way. If you didn't have that feeling, you know, you would be a psychopath, right? Now, my only thing is for my clients who do take action, you know, I want to encourage them to start thinking from the place that they want to be, like the version of themselves that, you know, like the version of themselves they want to create, not the one that they are today. Because the reality is, like, we cannot let fear, you know, get the best of us, keep us exactly where we are today, or we can take action despite of the fear, or maybe because of that fear, so we can get to where you want to go. So for you, Chris, like, do you feel that this fear is actually serving you when it comes to becoming the person that you want to become? This depends on what you're selling, right? When it comes to becoming pain-free. Oh yeah, you know, I don't know if it's helping me, I'm still fearful. Well, what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't take action? you don't receive the treatment you want, and you keep being in pain during the Christmas days. You know, you have those headaches like you mentioned. Makes sense, Richard? Now that's the simplest way to handle it in the fewest words is essentially bringing that fear, making it real, putting it into words, recognizing the problem, and then flipping it with a nightmare question, with a consequence question, to help them visualize what happens if they don't. Because in their mind, that's what I want to create. And that's my also second loop that I can use on them, that I can say, well, which is more risky? Is it more risky for you to invest this type of money so you can fix, you know, your neck pain, your hip pain, or is it more risky to stay exactly like you are, keep taking painkillers, and risk, I don't know, drilling holes in your stomach? Like,
Right.
I see a lot of people
Gotta
going,
hang in there.
yeah.
So I got to hang in there on my payment plans. When you say, hey, offer them $1,500, and you know they all balk on me. But you know they pay for the payment plans, but I think I'm going to that payment plan too much, so I got to stay in there a little bit.
Yeah, you have to stay in there. We have to stay in the saddle, right?
All right, good. Yep, give them a nightmare.
The more time we spend with them and they spend with us, the more trust we create. This is with anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, I got to hang in there a little harder.
Yeah, but make sure that it's uncertainty, you know, you're dealing with, and it's not, oh, I don't have the money.
Could be uncertainty.
Yeah.
They went to 9 caros. Nobody's helping them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, this is the question. I have it here as well. Like, if I really can't get anything out of them, I can also ask them, may I ask, is it about coming up with the money? Or maybe uncertainty about committing, like making the investment so you can fix this? Ali.
Hi, Chris. So yeah, I had 2 calls this week, and we went through the program and everything, and yeah, so I presented the price, and the price was like, it was 15,000. So they said it's too expensive. I said that's not a problem. So um, let's say if you had the money,
How do you mean it's too expensive?
yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So yeah, I skipped that part and said, let's say if you had the money, would you go through the program? Would you go through that? And they said yes. And I said, okay, why would you go through the program? And they expand on that, and I said, yeah, that's not a problem. And how can you resolve the the issue about the investments so you can get the life you want to live? And yeah, I kind of gave them an option about the payment option, so they can split the payment and so on, and they agreed with that. But I felt like they wanted to do that, but they wasn't like taking the commitment, right?
Yeah.
So my question is that's a fear,
What do you think?
Yeah, it's a fear because they booked a new call with me again now, but I feel like I didn't close that gap.
Yeah, it's 100% fear. Whenever people don't make a commitment, it's fear. It's something that we didn't. There are four different fears, right? Like it's not fear. Like what are they fearful about? Like it's fear of the past. Like I've done this before, I failed, and I'm fearful of making the same mistake. Fear of the future. Like what if this doesn't work for me? Exactly. What happens if I fail? It's fear of themselves. Like they don't trust themselves to follow through. I'm gonna spend 15,000 and I'm gonna waste it. Confidence, certainty in themselves, and fear in you. So fear in you, either the company, they saw bad reviews, or you didn't create the right environment for them to buy.
Mm.
Right? So 4 different types. It's you don't there are different ways of handling them, but again, first of all, you have to isolate that it's fear, and it's that subcategory that I'm dealing with, and then again, slowly chipping away at it.
Mm. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like my issue is I'm too hard on the close.
Yeah.
Much
First of
too-
all, during the loop, you didn't do 2 things, right? You didn't do how do you mean, so you can start understanding where they're coming from, and you didn't have leverage. Like you didn't ask me why. Like if you did have the money, would you do it? Yes. Why would you do it?
Yeah.
Like this is super important. This is everything. Like getting the yes is nothing. I can tell you yes anytime, but why would you do it?
Mm.
That's how, because it's kind of like when I'm hearing the first yes, it's kind of like they're putting their little finger on the yes state, but they're not committed to the yes state. But if I ask them why, depending on how they reply, it shows them how certain they are in getting into that yes state.
Mm.
And it's just the only thing, this only tiny little thing that we have to solve, or it's a whole lot of other fears we have to resolve together.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to follow the process exactly like the NPQ process. Follow
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Because I feel like I have it's small details. If I just change or put in some
Yeah.
process, I think it would, change my sales massively. So
Yeah, it's the small things. It's the small things. It's the small things that make all the difference, like asking why, clarifying, because you like every step that you skip, it's kind of like you have to squeeze it out of them later, and that can take another 5-10 minutes.
Mm.
So goes on to the closer. Like, can you handle another 10 minutes of reselling and asking and redoing and throwing loops? Because you didn't allow them to pre-sell it to themselves.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Kennedy.
Chris, do you have time for a quick role play?
Yeah, let me wrap up.
Okay. And it's just on one phase, not the whole thing.
Okay, cool. Let me just let me just see
Sure.
what no, that's pretty much it. We covered everything. Cool. Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Would you be able to, well, I'll tell you the problem and I just want to hear how you do it through problem awareness. So what I'm finding is like a lot of these like consulting firms, they're referral based. So when I ask like the do you like question, I'm wondering if it's just a bad question, which is why I'm not able to build a big enough gap. So the current question I have is, okay, so you've been using X, which X is really the referral, and you've been in business 14 years now. And so I'm asking, do you like the results you've been getting from just using referrals, which I don't really think that's a good question, but they're not using like an ads or Instagram or Facebook. They're not using an alternative. So it's kind of hard. I don't know if that's just a bad question.
Yeah. Let's role play it out. First of all, I'm not using the do you like question with my
you're not using it. Okay.
But let's role play it out. So Kennedy, what do you have in place now when it comes to getting more clients?
I have nothing in place. I've just been relying on referrals.
Okay, so referrals. How long have you been relying on referrals for?
We've been in business 15 years now.
Okay, that's quite some time. And what caused you to rely just on referrals rather than expanding on other channels?
I don't know. It's just kind of what I always knew.
Okay. Is there a reason that you haven't expanded into other channels?
I guess like not necessarily. It's just referrals kind of has kept me busy with my current workflow.
So overall, like you've been relying on referrals for 15 years, like how satisfied are you with the business that you're getting with referrals?
I mean, I'm pretty satisfied. It's just, I want, the possibility of more, like that kind of excited me.
How do you mean?
Because right now, like we're getting about 3 or 4 a week of referrals. So when you mentioned you could help me grow, I thought that was interesting.
Okay, so you're getting about 4 a week. I don't want to lowball it. How does that compare with your capacity that you can handle?
Oh, I could handle maybe like 5 more a week. So about 10 total.
Okay. And what's kind of like been preventing you from actually, getting to those numbers on your own?
Because I'm not doing anything. I'm just waiting on, Sally to send whatever she can this month.
Who's Sally?
She's a girl that sends me referrals.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. So I guess besides, kind of like relying only on referrals, I guess what's the main reason why you might be looking into different channels now rather than just, hey, tell Sally to double down. Sally, send me more referrals. I can take them.
Well, Sally's kind of slow right now.
In what way?
Like last week, she sent nothing. Christmas is coming up. She's going to be out for 2 weeks. Thanksgiving just passed. Nothing came then. So it's getting a little slow.
Okay. So like, how's that been affecting the business? Like, do you have employees just sitting around?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of just have expenses coming up and there's more going out than there's coming in.
Oh, like what kind of like a hole are we talking about, if I may ask?
Like 25K a month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I doing?
Yeah, you're like clarifying the problem, but like, and it makes sense, but it's just, I don't know, I guess it's hard for me to do that on the fly and I'm not sure of where I'm going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just that I have to kind of like construct my strategy like around when someone relies on the referrals, like inherently referrals are unpredictable.
Right, that's the point of that.
So that's where I guided you, right?
Yeah.
So how satisfied are you with your referrals? Yeah, I'm very satisfied. It's just now that just is where I will go ham at.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna stick to it. Like and if I'm not getting nothing, like my rationale question is gonna set me free up to that point. Okay, so like why don't you tell? That's why I was a little bit more animated. Like why don't you just say, Sally, send me more?
Right, like just ask her for more. No, that makes sense. Wait, I have a question. Is there a reason why you're not using that anymore? Or like what you found is better?
Yeah, it's just I like it more because no one is 100% satisfied. So I just get to the point quicker.
So instead of saying, do you like, you say, are you satisfied with X?
How satisfied?
Oh, how satisfied are you instead of the do you like?
Yeah,
so then
it's more open-ended and it allows them to talk more rather than yes, we are or no, we aren't.
Yeah. Wait, is that in your training?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to look back at that.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
100%. Anything else before we wrap up, ladies and gents? Richard.
Yeah, you just say, how satisfied are you with the results you're receiving? How satisfied are your results you're seeing?
Yeah, there are 2 ways of doing it. How satisfied is with the process that you're using or with the results? I default to the results only in cases where I see a lot of resistance from the person and they are a very A-type personality. I want to get them to commit more around, changing their process first and then building a gap off of that. This is a little bit more advanced, but just hammering away because everyone, like no matter what we're selling, we have a hell, we have a heaven, and a bridge, right? So I can ask them like, when it comes to the how satisfied question, I'm asking them essentially, how satisfied are you with the bridge? My drawing is horrible, but you get the point. How satisfied are you with the bridge that you're using to get to the outcome? Or the other version of question is how satisfied are you with the progress that you're making towards the outcome? So one is more direct, one is more indirect. You go more indirect when you have more A-type personalities to avoid resistance, poke holes at it, and once they accept the change, you can be more direct.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool, cool. In your case, it would be results, really. Like, how satisfied are you with, the results you've been getting by popping pills or by doing these exercises? Ali.
Yeah, so I had a call today that I went through the process, and I was on the rational question that, besides, changing the situation you have,
Yeah.
what's the main reason you're looking for a coach that would help you with that? And he started to say the answer, but he kind of got off track and just talking about he don't have time, so he don't have time because he has like 5 businesses, and he has already a coach that would help him with his mindset. So my question is, how should I take him back on the process and start thinking?
Oh, if you have 5 businesses and you're capped for time and you're also working with another coach, what's got you looking for additional help?
Yeah, I just want to just to see how much it would cost, and how that would help me with my goals and so on.
Yeah, well, if you don't have time to show up, like it can cost $5 or $50,000. It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
So first, let's clear some things up. Like, are you willing to commit the time so you can get your mindset right to put yourself in the best possible position to grow?
Okay.
Or are you though? Because that's important for me. Like, I want to see you win.
Yeah, but I don't know if I have the time right now.
Well, how do you think you can resolve it? Where you can find the time so you can do the mindset work that we have to do so we can grow the business. Like, help me out here.
Yeah, okay. So you went like,
Continue.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like he said that to me. I don't know. I can, we can talk about 2 months and see what happens after the coach I have, and we can discuss.
Okay. May I ask, because it sounds like you have everything you need as of now. Since you are already working with a coach, like, what has you feeling that your current work isn't gonna get you to where you wanna go though?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always doing something new. I'm not, I'm always starting a new business. I'm always doing something all the time. So I want to change that.
Yeah, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Do you feel that this exact mindset where you're hopping from business to business and you have 5 different ones and you're exploring different solutions, and your current work with your coach isn't still helping you resolve that? Do you feel that's exactly the reason why you've started again looking for help?
Yeah, because I wanted to see what you guys are offering, because I went through your masterclass and so on.
Yeah, but why not just double down with your current coach?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I get the help, but I feel like I need to change that that paradigm.
What has you feeling that way? Like, we're on the same team here. Like, be real with me. Like, what has you feeling with your current coach? What has you feeling that you're not gonna bridge the gap necessarily?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, is it an Ali thing or a coach thing?
Yeah, it's an Ali thing for sure.
So yeah, you see what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, so you try to resolve that directly and discuss with him.
Yeah, I'm discussing with him then and there. And just to be clear, like if she stands his ground and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the fuck out of the call, pardon the French.
Yeah,
And also see, well, that's why I use the phrase, well, it sounds like you have everything you need for now. Like, why don't you continue working with your current coach? Right now, we're focusing on clients who are really committed to get their mindset right. So why don't we circle back in 2, 3, maybe 6 months, see if you need more help then. And
Yeah.
see, I'm pushing him away, and see if he wants to defend that position or say bye. And both are perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
But with those people, like, there is a reason why they reached out, right? The curiosity. You can't spark curiosity without a desire behind it. Like, curiosity comes from desire. Like, if I'm happy with my marriage, I'm not gonna go to a bar looking at other chicks. I'm curious, I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Right? But there's still something eating at me. It comes from desire. Makes sense? Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so
I'm
much.
gonna wrap up over time here. It's been a pleasure as always. I've launched a more tight VIP community with all my stuff, more weekly calls, very affordable compared to my one-on-one. If you want more details, reach out, want access to me, more hands-on help anytime. If not, no worries. Every Sunday we'll be here. Have a good one, everyone, and chat with you.